What's poppin', Tub Nation? Welcome back to Tub Takes. This is a VGC video podcast where we go over must be making waves in the VGC scene. Today, I am joined by my co-host, Adi, up top with the balloons.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tub Takes. We got a big episode today. We got some awesome content. We got to recap two of the biggest events of the year in Japan Nationals and the Turin Special event, and then preview what is actually the biggest event other than the World Championships in the North American Championships. And we got a killer lineup. First and foremost, we have Ghiso, who is coming off of I think a top 8 finish at the Turin Special
Yep.
event with this super cool Lycanroc team. How are you doing?
Hi everyone. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's good to have you on. And then also to preview NAIC with a never before seen website. To create some of the coolest narratives you're going to see. Who is going to get a Worlds invite? That's the big question we're going to answer. We got Austin. How are you doing?
Good. I'm not coming off of a top 8. I'm coming off of a coding fueled bender, but that's okay.
Yeah, same. We got to do these early to get it in a European friendly time zone. But yeah, it's going to be a fun episode. And of course, as per usual, if you are here on Twitch and you can't stick around the entire time, this will be on YouTube tomorrow. !YT in the chat. And also, if you are watching on YouTube, come join us on Twitch. Tub Nation TV. We are so close to a Twitch partner. And so I would love it if everyone came and helped us make that last final push to get us to over that threshold, get us that purple check mark, I think, next to our name. We would love that. And then also, if you are watching, we'll link the stuff that we're talking about in the description. But I guess first and foremost, we can jump right into it. I don't think there's any announcements this week.
I don't
so we're
think
gonna
so.
jump right into.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no signups because the tournaments are they're all happening. We're going into the off season, but we got one final tournament to talk about. We got the last few Worlds invites to give out. This time at Japan Nationals, usually maybe the hardest tournament of the year. And this one was a doozy. This one was a lot of fun to watch. It had some really exciting moments. The top 128 players in Japan qualified. They played 7 rounds of Swiss in day 1. And the top 64 players made it into a single elimination March Madness style bracket and also earned their Worlds invite, which is also super cool. And as you can see on screen, we actually got the top 8 teams here after God knows how many rounds of single elim, best of 1, closed team sheet, top cut. I guess top cut was all best of 3, right?
Yeah, once they get to
Yeah,
top cut, best of 3, open team sheet, open nature, which is just normal now. When are we going to stop saying open nature? When will that become the normal? Unfortunately, it's like breaking my heart to say that, but eventually it's just going to be baked in, Yep. And yeah, what was it? The teams are not quite on victory road just yet. So I'm just using World Champion Gio's tweet here, featuring the 8 teams, but they are not ordered in placement at all. So we'll kind of have to just do that off of memory. But I believe the second team here is the one that won it all. So with that said, then yeah, I know.
Wow. No one's got anything to say about this team? What? Really?
So here's the thing, Audi, is before we even dive into any team in particular, you gotta kind of look at the field to put it all into context. Is because if you look at the team that the first one listed here, technically there's an Incineroar instead of King Gambit. Then you have the winning team. You have this team here from Rinya, who ended up placing in the top 4 using the same 6 as the finalist or the winner. The same team again featured here, and then the same team featured again here. So I think there was just one version with a change in a Pokemon of Incineroar. And then if you go between the specific sets as we click through, you'll see some other minor differences. Some of the King Gambits opted for Akaberry, some of the King Gambits opted for Black Glasses, some of the Basculegions opted for Mystic Water, some Citrus Berry, and so on and so forth. A bunch of minor optimization type things, and depending on how you like to play the team will probably influence some of those things. But highlighting the specifics of the team that won, it did have a Roselli Chomp without Protect, instead having that Poison Jab. Mystic on the Basket Legion, and funnily enough, Akaberry King Gambit. Not something that I think a lot of people were using before this tournament, and I don't know if a lot of people will come out of this tournament using it as well, or if they're going to opt for the other changes, but Akaberry, definitely a King Gambit that can change some matchups into particularly annoying Pokemon like Delphox or Charizard, or even Incineroar.
Yeah, I really like
Yeah,
how
and this
the Akaberry like changes the mirror. Like it makes it a lot scarier into opposing Charizard.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
this
Yeah,
Ghiso, did you have any
tournament
thoughts?
is such a
Yeah, I think the Akaberry King Gambit is really smart to cover the Whimsicott Basket Legion lead that seems really strong in the mirror match. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can lead King Gambit and you're fine even if your opponent lead Charizard. So it's a really smart pick in my opinion.
Adi, what were you saying? Sorry, I didn't
Mhm.
mean to cut you off.
it's one of those things where I wonder, like you said you don't know if it's gonna have staying power, and on one hand, I do think it makes a lot of sense, right? You're if you want your King Gambit to be part of your Charizard matchup, there's really two ways. You either get to run the Swartziness Black Glasses set and get up to +2, and then constantly threaten that Charizard with +2 Sucker Punch, which usually does not survive, or at least with a little bit of chip, it won't live that if they're super bulky. Or you have to run this Akaberry, which is so important because then you can, as you see, Charizard's usually paired with Floette, so it makes a lot of sense. You want to run Iron Head, you want it to be good. You want your Steel type to be good into Charizard, right? That's what I think I found testing a lot of this format. I was really into the Akaberry Corviknight for the same reason. You really want your Steel type to be good into Charizard and Floette, and that's really hard to do. So, but on the other hand, you also have the question of, well, what is your goal going into this tournament? Where you have to play closed team sheet, best of one, for 7 rounds to get your Worlds invite in the first place, right? To get top 64, have a winning record. In which case, having these type resist barriers where people don't necessarily expect it is really valuable. In best of one, you just catch them off guard. You think they're gonna end game your King Gambit with their fire type, and then all of a sudden they don't, right? That's huge. But on the other hand, then you actually still want to be able to win the tournament and play through that open team sheet top 8, or even the best of 3 section for top 64 until top 8, which is not open team sheet, but at that point, maybe people have a little more information. Best of 3, your items are going to get revealed over the course of the set. And so I think Akaberry King Gambit fits that really nice middle ground where it's both going to steal games in best of 1 and get you into that top cut set. Same with Roselli Berry Garchomp with 4 attacks, but also it's a very viable set that you can use once your opponent knows what you're running. You're still going to be very, very functional. It's not totally reliant on that surprise factor to be good.
Mm-hmm. And some of the
Yeah.
more... Go ahead, Ghiso, sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying that I think Rosalie Garchomp with 4 attack might be a bit worse in best of 3 open team sheet, especially because every single Whimsicott is running Sash right now. But in closed team sheet, it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. And it still was just able to go the distance, but yeah, I think the Garchomps were very split on the sets across these. I think actually no, I'm seeing 3 Roselli here, and then maybe the 2 down here are no, just one of them citrus, just one. Okay. But yeah, otherwise a lot of them went with Roselli. I think a lot of this was probably builds either being shared between players collaborating or being stolen off of, ladder if they saw something, like that. They were like, all right, well, I know that somebody's doing well with this and I'm going to give it a try myself. But yeah, Adi, you mentioned and you were highlighting some of the best of one phase, and I think that it felt most apparent when we saw this team on stream. Unfortunately, the Mega Clefable team that had a Excadrill was getting swept by Double Fairy, Floette, and Whimsicott, and you have to wonder, why is my Steel type not able to beat Double Fairy lead? Well, it turns out when your Excadrill runs Swords Dance instead of any Steel type attack. I should probably pull up the paste here, but the Excadrill was not running a Steel move at all, which made it much easier for the Fairy types to just not care about it. But
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
I think you can't run. You have to run Iron Head on Excadrill. I mean, in close team sheet, I'm still going to be scared of your Excadrill if I'm leading flat, but I think you have to. It's like Iron Head is mandatory in this format, and also I think in really interesting things about this team is the Pashberry Tyranitar that
Right.
I'm 100% sure is still a lot of games into rain. You can switch it in on a wave crash or win the 1v1 versus opposing Basque Legion. And also another
Mhm.
interesting stuff is Mono Mega Clefable.
Right. I honestly, I'm not a big Clefable believer. I want to actually throw it over to Adi, who I don't think is actually still a Clefable believer, but Adi, you were trying it on day one. You were like, all right, let's give this thing a shot. And then you were like, nah.
Exactly. Yeah, this was one of the first Pokemon that I tried. Obviously, the first synergy you see is, oh well, I can put my Mega Clefable next to my ground type and click really strong ground moves on a sand team. And I thought it was especially underwhelming. I get the synergy, especially Ice Beam Air Slash is a fun set. You hit all the things that resist ground with that, either flying or grass, right? That's pretty nice. But yeah, it's such a close team sheet thing where you don't have the strong Moonblast to really hit things. You are one of the really funny interactions that I found out when I was doing this is that you can parting shot you now, and you can get forced out. And your follow me won't redirect the second attack. So that's also a tough one right there. And that
Right.
was kind of the thing that took me off of it. So yeah, I don't know. I think it doesn't necessarily have a lot of staying power in open team sheet, if you ask me. But I think sand is a really good call when you have that percentage of the field using sun. Like sand is always inherently good. This one has a lot of surprising things. You look at this Dragapult and you have no idea what you're looking out for. You got a lot to account for when you face it down a Dragapult. The Pasha Berry Tyranitar, not something people are going to expect to see. Clefable is a Pokemon where even if you see it, you maybe put together that it's Mega, but honestly, like it could just be normal Clefable with Mega T-Tar or Mega Excadrill. Those are both very viable Pokemon. Well,
Hmm.
very viable is maybe a little bit of a stretch, but it's close team sheet. Who knows what you're going to see, right? Even the Sinistcha, it has Imprison. Like it's a crazy. Sinistcha said this to me strikes me as a let's get to Worlds. Let's go 4-3, make it to Worlds, and then they probably I didn't get to watch them in Top Cut, but like it's yeah, it definitely feels like a team that's really trying to take advantage of that closed team sheet, and I don't know if this one has as much staying power in open team sheet.
Yes, and so we probably won't see a ton of influence on this one for the remaining tournament that is NAIC, because
Mhm.
as we talked about last week, like mobile comes out the Wednesday after, so does the new format as well. So there isn't like a whole lot of long-term meta applications. It's very specifically like one more tournament meta applications. That said, probably not going to see a lot of this
Mhm.
team at NAIC.
Now, before you close off, which I know you just did, I
Yeah,
will say the thing that I think you could take away from this one is that I don't think Tyranitar needs to have the Tyranitar rights. I think that's
sure.
especially it's usually on a double mega team, and then you have the option to mega it. But I think that something like a Pasho Berry is really cool, especially since it allows it to consistently end game Basque Legions. And that is something that I was testing Sand a lot before Indianapolis. That was something that I really struggled with. Was Basque Legion can really safely lock into Wave Crash, get into those end games. Pasho Berry Tyranitar does end game Basque Legion. That is something I can see having staying power because a lot of these sand teams generally have a different mega that they want to really mega evolve. Now you do have to make sure that your sun matchup is still okay, even if you don't get the opportunity to mega your Tyranitar. But I think usually that's not really a problem when you have Rock Slide on Excadrill and Rock Slide on Tyranitar, usually pretty good. And the other thing is, I was really impressed with Milotic when I was testing it out. It was a
Sure.
Pokemon that was able to win a lot of end games, and so that part of the team is not like super out there, not super surprising, and wouldn't be surprised to see a more Milotic Sand taking inspiration from this team, but not necessarily taking all of the choices from this team.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
this team also reminds me of the early Sword and Shield Sand teams, with Togekiss and Excadrill Dragapult and
True.
Coil Milo. Yeah, it's almost the same team composition, and they had to Mega Evolve the Clefable to make it look as a Togekiss.
Adi loved Ted, dude. Adi's a huge Ted fan, so Adi, maybe this is the team for you. Um, Togekill Extra Drill.
I can wait till they
Sure.
get Togekiss back in the game. Don't worry,
Yeah,
I'm not that in much of a rush.
I'm with you there. Okay, so yeah, I think we probably won't have too much to say about the other variants of the different Sun teams. I will say, just as a fan of the game, it was fun to see Rinya in top 4 using Sun. It was just like Rinya is so back. I've just been referring to this team as Rinya Sun, even if Rinya wasn't the original builder of it, just because it's like it's convenient and also makes me laugh. So like that's what I'm calling the team, even if Kona was the ultimate winner of the tournament. I believe Hiroshi Onishi, but yeah, Rinya Sun is just such a fun way to call it. So
Yeah, telling my kids this is what Rinya's son was.
it'd be kind of. I mean, kind of. So, the other team that like really bridges the gap between open team sheet best of open team sheet best of 3 and closed team sheet best of 3, pun intended, is the Archaladon Frostlass Gengar team here that had some really hype moments on stream. So many, because of the the Frostlass that has Rain Dance. That was actually really awesome. But the more I saw in action, and especially as it got to the later stages of the tournament, I was like, this actually just seems kind of good. And also, a mega combination that I never thought could be possible, basically, because you look at Gengar and you think about what are the megas that are going to offset its weaknesses, and somebody said Frostlass. Let's run Frostlass. It's like another ghost type mega. That's so strange, and yet I feel like this is like honestly a more sound team than I could have imagined. But Ghiso, what do you think?
Yeah.
I think. Oh yeah, I think like except from Rain Dance Frozas actually, I think this team could be legit in SO3 open team sheet. Also, another interesting thing is Hypnosis on Politoed, which can help a lot in Perish endgames. Like if you connect a single Hypnosis, like you may win the Perish endgame. So really interesting. And the other sets are pretty common, so.
Yes.
It's an interesting build for sure.
I gotta say, it's kind of funny. The things you chose to highlight are the things that I like immediately was like disagreeing with. First off, like for Hypnosis, I was like, we if we go to open team sheet, let's just make that Encore. But you've convinced me a little bit. Hypnosis does sound like it wins you games you have no business winning. I like that. And then as for the Rain Dance, though, I'm pretty sold on that idea. Basically, Frostlass just gets to be so annoying for Charizard. You have a fast ghost type that can change the weather, and it's basically like it's the Sableye that doesn't suck that you can run with Archaladon, because you can set up both screens at once for your Archaladon and then set up rain for it afterwards. And on top of that, you can still have a Blizzard at any point in the battle in between, or you can switch it out in Blizzard later. It's just like a very fine Pokemon.
I think you could run Weather Ball then on Frostlass.
Right? I've been looking at Weather Ball Frostlass as well. Hello, are you back, Austin? Maybe. We'll give it a second here. But yeah, the Weather Ball seems really fun. It reminds me of what ESM was doing with his Rock Weather Ball into Charizard. Because water is actually like boosted by the weather, unlike sand. The water type Weather Ball also is a pretty consistent kill on Charizard, even if they have bulk. So a water type Weather Ball would not be a bad idea to try on Frostlass. It's something that I was looking at myself, and it was kind of cool. So
it definitely was one of the coolest moments on stream, right? To watch that Rain Dance Frostlass. But I think that I actually still like having Aurora Veil on there. Like I feel like you already threatened the Zards with your Politoed and with your Archaludon. But I think that one of the real appeals to this team to me, like again, people see a better Sableye in chat. Like part of the scary part about Rain is that Archaludon, especially with screens up, especially with that defense boost, is so hard to knock out. Right? It's especially you get screens up, you have a Incineroar, you have a Sinistcha, and you just play Protect the Archaludon. And so this is a way where, hey, now you can get your screens up, and maybe you throw a Flash Cannon out, maybe you throw a Dragon Pulse out, maybe you just Parting Shot into your Archaludon. You're always threatening that Politoed switch in, but then you're also always threatening that Rain Dance And so I think that's the synergy that was most impressive to me, was that Frostlass Archaludon actually does have a lot more natural synergy than you think. We saw a lot in Reg H, Archaludon appearing on non-rain teams. You can't really do it as much this format, especially without body press, but without power herb. But yeah, this is a really cool way of being able to bring your Archaludon, one of the best mons in the format, without necessarily having to bring a rain setter with it, or a Polytoad or a Pelipper with it.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, hello.
Back.
Okay, yeah, I might be able to rebalance your audio, but like there's barely any audio to work with here.
Discord decided that it wanted to die. It wasn't my internet after all.
Okay.
Yeah, but I love this team. It's actually like very reminiscent of the best result that I had last season, which I kind of brought as a joke, where I had both Pelipper and Alolan Ninetales in at Louisville. And Archaludon behind screens is just so hard to break, and I actually won my 6th round to make it to day 2 by having Pelipper Basculegion in front of a Garchomp Tyranitar and flip turning into a Ninetales and weatherballing the Garchomp with Pelipper.
That's so sick. I love that. Yeah, the weather ball shenanigans have gotten too much in this metagame. I'm so sick of Charizard killing my Garchomp when Frostlass sets the snow. Like, just that's not for you. That weather's for me. It's not for you, Charizard. Don't use it against me. That can be
Yeah,
funny. Ghiso, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think a pretty interesting set of Archaludon, which in my opinion is a bit underexplored, but I keep losing to it in other spot, is White Herb, Sturdy Archaludon in Talonflame composition. Yeah, I keep losing to that mon. Like Draco Meteors, it KOs a mono team, and it goes back to +0 special attack. So I think it might be an interesting set to try out.
I honestly, when you started mentioning weird Archaludons, I thought you were gonna go for the Aurasphere direction as well, because that can really mess up a King Gambit that you thought was gonna be able to take a hit.
Yeah, I faced White Herb, Draco Meteor, Flesh Cannon, and Aurasphere Archaludon.
Yep.
And I get destroyed.
Makes sense that they don't have rain. Yep. Just don't, oh no, actually it has Flash Cannon to hit fairy types. Never mind, it's fine. Okay, so I think then the last team to talk about is the one that ended up finishing in top 4. It was a Sneasler team featuring a Frostlass team featuring Sneasler, Arcanine Hisui, and Milotic. And the King Gambit was, funnily enough, Supreme Overlord. I think there was a time on stream where it got a stat drop, I swear, and it didn't go back up, and I was like, huh? Wait a minute. Supreme Overlord, a very funny tech.
Overlord like activates on switching, but I mean, if we're having trouble reading it, then it's most definitely
yes,
gonna flip up from the English-speaking viewer's perspective.
Well, on top of that, I think it might have switched in with no KOs. I don't know if it announces itself that there's nothing.
Yeah, that too.
I don't remember the situation well enough though. But it definitely reveals itself when the stats drop and they don't go back up. That at that point I could be certain. So funnily enough, I guess like maybe the logic here is that Milotic is doing a lot of work scaring off of the Intimidate guys, that you can get away with having a different ability on King Gambit, and on top of that, for all of the closed team sheet perspectives, you might have an ability that is slightly more active in the end games. I mean, all it takes is for 2 Pokemon to be knocked out for King Gambit to have its own makeshift Black Glasses. However, I don't think a lot of people will be switching to this in open team sheets still. But they might use a team like this. I could see it.
Yeah,
it's funny. This is like the ESM team, but except less weird,
Yeah,
it looks like a lot like what ESM would.
That's what
don't
it's
expect
always all
Japan to
about,
take
right?
inspiration from us.
Is
Right.
taking what ESM did make look good and then normifying it, because he does too many weird things with his teams, but there's still some generally applicable stuff, whether it's like Arcanine Hisui or I don't know. I'm trying to think of examples in the past, but it might just be Arcanine Hisui every time, because he likes that guy a lot. So, uh, yeah. Then I think, are there any other highlights from Japan Nationals that we want to mention here? The stream was great. It had the silly AI battle analysis thing that never feels too accurate. When it says that somebody's got like a 90% win condition, and you're like, wait a minute, no, this is this is not actually how this works. Um, and yeah, a lot of hype moments, a lot of hype moments. The end game of
Yeah, also
finals. I mean, if you haven't watched it, it's so
yeah,
exciting. Gisu, go ahead.
also the Ost they put in the finals was insane.
Oh, the music, yes. The
Yeah,
yeah, the I'm so jealous that they get to have that one, because that song is so good. I don't know why they went so hard for that one, but like I would love to be able to listen to it regularly.
yeah, I had to play old Turin with the Route One music in background.
Oh no, dude.
A couple of like extra things. Day one teams were really interesting. I think it was
Sure.
Gahaku with the Mega Medicham and the baton pass choreograph and Mega Audino was really cool to
Oh my
see. Just
god.
like right off the rip.
Yeah, did
Um,
that team end up losing? I think it did. Or
I
did
think they
it?
both ended
Yes.
up moving, but they were still cool.
They were.
Well, Gahaku did well. Gahaku, I think, got top 16. And so no shame in that. I got their worlds invite, did quite well. The
Right.
the other team, I don't know if the Baton Pass team made it to Worlds or not.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
And I can drop the Gahaku's team here.
Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting is that it's a little bit of Japan. That was a different format than previous years. This one was 7 rounds of Swiss into best of one day two into best of three top cut, whereas previous years it was just a full on double elimination best of one tournament into best of three like top eight. So you have people in day two with like 3 or 4 losses, and you can win the tournament with 3 or 4 losses, which is really interesting. And I wonder like how much that people like saw like did the math and thought, well, I can play something like a lot safer because if this gets me to day two, it gets me to it. Then that's all I need. If I can manage like 3 or 4 wins, then that gets me to Worlds, and that's my goal.
Right. Right. Yeah, it was like that's the tricky part, is everybody just wants to finish in that upper half, 128 come in and only 64 go away with World's advice. So I think a lot of people probably chose different routes to do it, whether it's just like, I can win more than half my games with something standard and I don't have to do more than that. Or they're just like, I'm going to cheese as many people as I possibly can. I don't care what happens after Swiss. Those are the, I feel like, the main philosophies that are fun to see in action.
It went. There were some players who went 3-4 and made it to Worlds, which is also very funny. Because some people bubbled in there.
Yeah, it was literally like with this system, you could like literally bubble into a Worlds invite, which is just like so wild to play through all the different stages. I mean, I know that their season was kind of scuffed to begin with because of the late champions release date, not giving them a full 4 global challenges or whatever to qualify through. But yeah, to have it all come down to this so quickly, like so tightly packed together their whole season, it's definitely, I don't envy them. I think Adi did, so I think Pol Po didn't make it through. What about
Yeah,
Gio Costa? Did Gio make it
or
through?
No.
Nope.
No. Okay. So no, I don't know what you would call them, kind of like out of region players, but like they're playing at the circuit, but like I'm just curious if anybody else was able to make it through. But yeah. Um, so with that said, then I don't know if there's anything else to say about Japan Nationals. We don't quite have all the teams, but go ahead, Ghiso.
Yeah, a quick fun fact. I think I played Gaku in Battle Spot, and
Yes.
I let Flat. They went for Fergraf. They had Fergraf. Fergraf
Sure.
and Medicham. They click out in close combat, and my Flat just disappeared. And I was so impressed. I was so impressed. Yeah,
You said helping
insane
hand close
combo.
combat KO'd the Floette?
Yeah, yeah. Full health. He just disappeared.
Oh my god. Who needs a coverage move? Who needs to click
Wow.
none? Oh, that's awesome. Um yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff you can do when you're playing close sheet best of one. And so I always give props to the people that are willing to cook up stuff like that. They just see the game differently. All right. Let's hop over to Turin, and I think we'll dive right into the teams. But Ghiso, we'll probably talk about your team and run first. First off, I should mention that a team report has been put out for this one on a is it, I don't know, Ko-fi, not Patreon, but same vibe. It's a paid team report that you can go get access to from Mava, but I imagine you guys all kind of helped out with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And the art's cool. The art we were talking about earlier, how Sneasler is there, if you didn't realize, because like you got like all the main guys, but Sneasler just like so small, but it's there, and it's super cool, really cool illustration. But yeah, so if you guys need a team for NAIC, the team is out now. But with that said, then so the team report's out. We don't need to do like a full team report or anything like that. But I do want to know, how did you end up landing on this team with your group, and how did it feel?
Yeah, so as I said, I was really struggling with the format before Turin. And then I was testing a bunch of stuff. I even test camera up Vivian for uh, a day, like for some reason. And then Mava reached out to me with this team, and I fell in love with it at first glance because I basically put everything that I really liked about this meta in a single team. I really liked the Frostless. It was the first mega I tried. And the Scoville lane, being able to burn everything. I really like that one and the concept. And Lycanroc was exactly what the team needed to deal better versus opposing Charizard, because the core of Frostless, King Gambit, Sneasler, Basculegion struggles to handle opposing Charizard if they are in Tailwind, and especially next to Whimsicott. So your Garchomp is in an awkward spot, and the Lycanroc being able to one-shot the Charizard with a priority move was exactly what the team needed. So I have to mention that the idea of Lycanroc was, the first one to put it in a team was Dorian Kang, which is the same MPA team from Mava and Dubious, which helped with the team. But yeah, the team felt amazing for the tournament. I don't regret any single choices, and yeah, it really was the right call for the tournament, and I think the results showed up.
Oh, totally. I mean, I did want to know how your group just got this massive, because like I've been on some large projects. Adi and I have both been involved with like team building groups, but never quite this big. I feel like this is a lot of people. Hold on, I know there's a couple people that aren't included, so let me just click all of your Pokemon so that there's no others. But yeah, it was there. This many of you all running the team together.
Yeah, but before Mava reached out to me and Nico, we were two split groups that were testing different stuff. And then as soon as Mava reached out to us, we decided to it became a one single group that was going to bring this team. Yeah,
Okay, so it was a linking of two groups in a sense.
yeah, exactly.
But did you all run the exact same team? Did anybody decide like,
Yeah,
oh, I
exact
like
same
Dire
thing.
Claw, Sneasler, or is everybody the same?
I think Francesco Raga ran Dire Claw, but other than that, everything else was the same.
Okay. Oh yeah, I actually didn't know, and we don't need to bag on Francesco or anything like that. But I thought, did he play or did he not? I thought I'd heard he didn't.
I Yeah, he did, but
Okay, just an
yeah, I
unfortunate
don't
run.
know.
It
I
happens.
didn't
It
know what
happens.
happened there. Yeah.
All good. All good. So yeah. So then yeah, you had this yeah, this massive group and yeah, I gotta say, like, the thing of is, even when you have like a really big group like this, you might see, a bit more of like an even 50-50 success rate. Some of the players make it to day two, some people don't make it. But you had 6 players finish 9-3 or better, which is just a very incredible showing from a team building group, all coming in on a new build. So that definitely showed some confidence, some strength in this team. Um, from your run specifically, what would you say was the most standout match?
Uh, it's got to be the game one versus Arish, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, on stream.
Yeah. Also, I had a really like the full mirror match versus Mava was really fun, uh, and in a weird way, obviously, because everything was speed tying and yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, another really good match was versus Chichat. Yeah, but
In the
yeah,
final
overall,
round, was that? Were
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Let me see. So X and one. Were you guaranteed at this point? Um,
yeah, I was X1 and yeah.
Probably
Oh,
good enough
also,
resistance. Go ahead.
the game two versus Julio,
Yeah.
uh, it wasn't fun because I lost game two because of they clicked Dark Claw and I get three full pairs in a row into my Frostlass. And
No.
if I attack once, I win 2-0, but I get full pair three times in a row and I lost, so it wasn't funny.
Had to work a little bit harder for that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say though, the game one against Arash, like was that specific situation the original intention? I know that you don't have to break down the full EV spreads, but what was shown on stream is that Scovillain was faster than Basque Legion. Was this exactly the purpose?
Yeah, it was exactly the purpose because we thought about well we thought about Sinistchen Float obviously, but
Sure.
it ended up working really well versus Delphox as well because we wanted to run a really bulky Basque Legion, and so since we had like no spit investment, we figure actually shout out to Nico for figuring out because I didn't thought about it, and yeah, we figured out that we by adding a bit of point in Scavillian speed, we would be able to override the redirector and then attack with Basket Legion the Calm Mind user or like the other mon. It works. It also works with some Charizard teams where you can override the Sinistcha Wave Crush the Charizard or the Flat if they go for the setup mode. So yeah.
Hmm. Somebody in the chat just said, "Oh, that was you that did the overheat wave crash play." That because Arash, like, I think, did he even send out his back two Pokemon, or did he just forfeit like right then and there? I think he just
No, it
forfeited.
just for yeah,
And that was his
just for
best play. It was his
I mean,
best
what did
move.
he do there?
It was his best move was to say, "I'm not going to show you my back, but you can have that first game. That's for you."
yeah.
That was awesome. That was such a cool play. Um, Awesome. Yeah. So again, plug in the team report. Definitely go check that out if you want to learn more about it. Let's continue to break down some of the other stuff from this tournament.
Real
So
quick, since you
yes,
mentioned that that the original like Lycanroc user was Dorian.
right.
Like I've worked with Dorian a lot this season, and like I was talking with him last night, and me and I believe it was Doorstop or Steven Schmidt said something along the lines of like Dorian had considered skill building at one point, but decided not to use it because quote unquote it doesn't have enough stats. And I thought it was, and looking at the teams, like it's just really funny to see it like back on the like on the team and do really well at this event.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna have to call it Dorian Dog now. Um, the Lycanroc. Okay, so the yeah, so I guess let's get dive into these teams. So um Marco ended up taking the whole thing with a very unconventional Parish Gengar team, I would have to say. Like, there's definitely, some of the usual suspects here. You're going to have an Incineroar with Protect and Parting Shot. And Como also usually finds itself onto these Parish teams. But I feel like a lot of the rest of it was super strange to see. I mean, Sneasler's still very good, and King Gambit is just here to keep those ghost types in check that Gengar can't handle, like Basculegion, for example. But yeah, I'll just say what I was actually thinking watching these games is that I do not think Marco's team looked that good. And I feel like I've said this a couple of times about Marco's teams that he plays at tournaments. I feel like every time Marco looks good. I feel like Marco just plays so well, is able to get himself out of any bad situation. And maybe I'm just too stupid to understand his teams. That's I can live with that.
Marco compares with a different meaning.
Yeah.
Right. Adi?
I mean, I think Fede said it in on Twitter as well. You know, he talked about, man, Marco had a really tough matchup in, honestly, like traditionally Gengar really struggles against Mega Delphox. He played it in top 4 in finals and he beat both of them, right? Like that, those did not look like easy matchups for him. And like you said, he played out of his mind. It's interesting to see, like, traditionally on these Parish teams, we've seen them people really commit to Parish. We don't see them go with a second mega like the Floette, but I think that it I didn't watch, so I can't tell you that it looked really good, but like it's a cool way of building it out, and I think that it's less committal, which I think is really important because you really can't, like, the teams that were fully perished, fully committed to running the Politoed and the Tinkaton, right? They felt like they were matchup fishing in some ways, and Gengar maybe not the strongest mega, like it does have its, yeah, like that. Whereas Gengar had this Marco's team had less variance in its matchup spread. It just, I think, had like a bunch of 40-60s, and Marco's so good that he managed to like outplay everyone to win. That's kind of like my take on it. It's not something that I would necessarily recommend that people like try to pick up, especially in a week for NAIC. I think it's sort of like a skill diff type team. Where you really have to like really, really outplay your opponents pretty consistently. You're not going to have a lot of free matchups like you would with the other Parish team, where you might see people who just look at the team and say, shoot, I was really hoping not to face this. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I think the most interesting stuff about Marco's team is that it's really hard to cover for every single mode that this team has. It has like the Purge mode, 2 Setupper, and a mode with double Fake Out and Flat without Light of Rain. I think this is the most interesting things. Like when I see this team, I don't see a clear way to cover all of the things that Marco could do. And obviously Marco played super well and deserved to win. So
yeah, it's a lot more flexible than most other Parish, which just tries to get you in a position for the end game, or yeah, but it's just so flexible, and Marco's just that good of a player to be able to capitalize on the different modes and different ways to win the game.
Since we're comparing it a little bit to the other Parish team, like the one that Desu made it to top 16 with, I think one thing that didn't really sell me on Marco's team is that it does kind of like trade some of the Encore Disable mind games that those teams have, where if you Encore Disable the correct Pokemon, you might just win immediately, and if you get it wrong, you might lose immediately. At least from my experience playing with a team like that, there are definitely some 100% situations, but there's also some hard situations. And it instead throws that all away for King Gambit 50/50s, where if you get your Swords Dance up with King Gambit and you get all your Sucker Punch targeting correct, then there's nothing they can do to stop you if you're just Marco Fierro getting every single turn right. He was King Gambit himself. So yeah, but in those end games, it was just so scary. And I think somebody else pointed it out in the chat here, saying that Marco maybe just didn't have the best Delphox matchup, but still managed to make it work because he's just, a very good player. Oh man, I forgot that. I'll figure it out for next time. But I forgot that the chat wasn't on the video last time, and I'm making a note of it out loud to myself right now. But I'll get that fixed for next time. Sorry, guys. I forgot that the chat doesn't show up on the screen. Anyways, the next team here is from Louis. By the way, I used to say this name so American until I finally didn't have the broadcast muted while I'm just doing something else. So I used to say like Louis Fontville or something like that, like Fontville. I was like until I was like Louis Fontville. I think I've definitely butchered some European names really bad because I haven't heard them out loud and I'm just an American. But yeah, so Louis Fontville is managed to make it to second here, which is crazy because this is a stellar finals. Marco, this was between two current season champions. Marco won earlier this year in Regulation H, and Louis won over in Regulation I. So we are already guaranteed to see a repeat champion for the season. Like that's just like for the first Pokemon Champions event. That's an awesome finals. You can't ask for more. And the set was also incredible to watch. So that was such a nail biting set. Great effort from Louis. Louis proving to be one of the strongest players in Europe right now. So awesome run. And I gotta say, I like this team a good deal more than the team Arash was using. And Arash was just using Sajin's team that he used in Trainers Cup. But yeah, this team seems far more difficult to deal with, or like far more flexible, I guess is the word I want to look for. Maybe not difficult. Sometimes you'll struggle more with triple redirection, but this team seems much more well-rounded, and if they have a way to deal with a certain, threat, it can easily pivot to other ideas. So yeah, what do you guys think? Austin, any thoughts?
Yeah, I quite like this team. I've experimented with Delphox a lot in the early stages of this format. So the way that the setup is protected, especially with the Incin / Sneasler Sinistcha core, is really fun, really cool. And I'm very glad to see Delphox win, win a lot of the games, even if it didn't win the finals. So yeah, and I also am a big fan of the Sash Basket Legion. I've been using it a little bit more, and it's been really, really showing up.
Yeah.
This is
go ahead,
this
Ghiso.
is this is the kind of setup teams I like the most because it allows you to play more aggressively in some matchup with the Sash Basket Legion and the possibility to just click Dazzling with Flood, as we saw, I believe, in top 8 in the top 8 match versus Ensao, not Ensao. And yeah, I like this team more than the Irish one with the triple redirector. So
Totally. And speaking of that, I'll keep us moving along here so we can break down some more of these teams. But Arash's team was very much just that. So it's not brand new, but it's still one that you got to be ready for, the triple redirection Delphox Float. I feel like maybe if people were sleeping on Delphox going into the weekend, and I would say myself was like a little bit included in that. Delphox had a crazy good showing here, and I think the biggest strength of this Pokemon is that there are not very many spread moves that are good into Delphox. Rock Slide, quite good at dealing with Charizard, but when you've got, Life Dew and Hospitality and Friend Guard and Intimidate, Rock Slide's not going to be that good at dealing with Delphox. And the rest of the moves, they just aren't easy to come by. There's not a lot of good spread dark moves outside of specifically Snarl. There's not a lot of... we don't have Astral Barrage. We don't have... I know, thank goodness we don't have Astral Barrage. Thank goodness we don't have Astral Barrage.
Thank God.
But, yeah, again, there's just not a lot of types to hit Delphox past the redirection. Ground doesn't work unless you're using like Mold Breaker. If Mold Breaker Extra Drill picks up, you heard it here first. But Yeah, the otherwise the nature of this team is very similar to the other one. Floette and Delphox, a similar pairing to Delphox Charizard, but Delphox has a bit more sweeping capability, I guess, because of the ability to set up.
I feel like there was a lot of like maybe anti-Delphox like psyops going around because I feel like in the like 2 to 3 weeks before Indianapolis, I kept on hearing a lot about how Delphox sucks. And like even though it didn't make top cut at Indianapolis, we still had two top 32s. Like Josh Dorsey went 6-0 with it, or sorry 8-0 with it on day one, and that's still a handful of like decent players doing getting like reasonable results, but like two in top four at Turin, kind of out of nowhere. Other than that, is really surprising considering what some people have been saying.
I'm in that group, by the way. I'm one of those people. I was saying, Delphox's ass going, into this weekend. I thought it was quite bad, but these players were making it look good. So
I don't know. I think it's one of those Pokemon that I think if you really want to beat, you can target it down. And it's probably on more people's radar right now. But
Definitely.
I mean, for example, you mentioned Moldbreaker Excadrill, right? You slap a Choice Scarf Moldbreaker Excadrill, and this team kind of gets swept. Like what do they do? All right, so it's definitely counterable. We saw like Hydreigon was very common early in the format on sand teams, then kind of fell off. And that's another Pokemon Delphox really struggles against. So I think it has some weaknesses, very defined weaknesses, and they've just kind of taken a downturn in the format, which made it a really strong meta call going into this weekend. But we'll see if people start to tech for it a little more going into NAIC.
By the way, the other really good, I'm selling out all of my good NAIC ideas. The Excadrill one was that one I was looking into, but I don't know if I'm actually going for it. The other one, Raga put out a tweet kind of alluding to it, is Mega Victory Bell. Mega Victory Bell is the secret solution to these teams, okay? So you use the poison to beat the Floette. That's good enough. You got there. Sadly it doesn't get Gunk Shot, but you can run Poison Jab if you want to use the physical side, or just Sludge Bomb and, I don't know, poison them eventually. You're bulky enough. And then when you fight the Fire Mega, you just innards out. They're gonna kill you with a Heat Wave from their Charizard, with a Heat Wave from their Delphox, and it's like, you know what? This is mutually assured destruction. If you want to take me out, you can take yourself out too. So that's the other secret answer. So if you see a lot of Mega Victory Bell at NAIC now, you know why. That's what everyone's kind of concluding at this point right now, is that's the solution.
I did lose to a Mega Victory Bell team at Indianapolis. They didn't bring the Victory Bell, but I did lose to
it. No. Dude, Mega Victory Bell's so funny. Why do they have to make it a mixed attacker? Mixed attacker is like a death sentence. Yeah. It's a death sentence.
I mean, you say that, but Scovillain's right there.
That's true. Scovillain is just a mixed attacker. All right, Davide Carrera's team, kind of similar to I always say what's that? Yeah, it is Rinya's Sun. It's Rinya's Sun with the Ensign, though. This one has the double megas. It actually has Calm Mind on the Floette, which seems non-typical. I feel like a lot of these Calm Mind Floettes prefer to have redirection, so might have expected a Light of Ruin there. At least I would have. But yeah, otherwise, a lot of this just looks like the stuff you see. I want to talk about one thing specifically with Davide's team here, because it's otherwise a pretty boring standard composition, is that I don't love what Open Nature has done to the speed creep war, because it just feels like Adi, I was describing it this way the other day in a call, but like it feels like it's not quite the prisoner dilemma, but it feels like that somehow, where it's just like everyone has to be max speed, because if you don't, like it's just stupid. Like they get to capitalize on that so much. So we're seeing all the Garchomps go Jolly now. We're seeing a lot of the Floettes start to go timid. Some of the Zards are even going timid. It's just an arms race to the top, and it's awful.
You see it with Sneasler too, right? You're in such a worse position on lead if you're adamant, because they know if you lead Sneasler into Sneasler, they know you can fake you out. Yeah, you see it with it's just that speed tier is so exploitable, right? It's so many things that can hit that 155 number. That for example, Vivillon's the big one. We saw Arcanine too at 156. And so, I mean, part of it, that I think that might have happened inevitably anyways, people taking advantage of all these modest Charizards, all these adamant Garchomps, modest Floettes. But now especially, you can see it. And then also the Floette, Combine Floette, I think is the other reason. Again, I think that might have happened regardless. Where, if your Floette is faster than Charizard's and you get a Combined off before they can move, it's really debilitating. So I don't think that's just open nature. It's just that we can see it much more clearly now. I think that might have happened regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was thinking about it. I also agree that it does really incentivize you to go max speed and win speed ties way more, because thinking as like a Caloric Shadow player, back in the day, right? If everyone knew that you were modest Caloric Shadow, it becomes so much easier to play against. And that was one of the tricky things. Whereas if you are max speed timid, they have to respect it the entire time. Um, and yeah, that dynamic I don't like. I really don't like it. Where especially when you're playing into a lot of mirror matches, it makes it a lot more toxic when you already know who's going to be faster. It makes it a lot less interesting.
And
I
I
do like the
know.
fake,
Go ahead.
like speed boosting, like fake outs, where you have like very low speed, and you're still jolly or timid, but you're like crazy bulky or crazy strong regardless, and and you still have the mind games of like, okay, they might think I'm still like max speed timid, but I'm not that fast.
Right.
And just knowing and playing around that is like still another like level of skill expression.
Yeah, I just miss the days of discovering this kind of stuff as you play it. I know that I'm somebody who's again a close team sheet defender, but the more I see it, the more like that game one that you play against somebody, if both of you don't, have insider info on each other, you're still getting a feel for it. If I play, my first game against Ghiso, I'm not going to immediately assume that this Frostlass is modest or timid. Like I'm going to play until I find out, until I see like, oh, a specific, I did this much damage to it. Oh, it has bulk. Okay, time to start playing around that. Like I love that. I love that kind of like play and learn as you go type feel with it. Instead, now if the minute you see Adam in on the Garchomp with my Jolly Eye, I'm just like, cool. I get the first Dragon Claw. I'm gonna play to a position where I get the first Dragon Claw right out of the gate from the first game. I don't even have to waste time playing safely to learn that information. I just know now right away. But yeah, actually, I do want to ask your thoughts a little bit on Open Nature as well, Ghiso, because this was your first weekend playing with it. I don't know. I mean, you could have obviously played plenty of internals and stuff like that, but this is like the and like online tournaments. But this is the first major for Europe where they had this as well, not just champions, but Open Nature.
Yeah, first of all, I really like the open team sheet stuff. I think it
For
adds a
sure.
lot of skill in the game. Uh, the open nature, I'm not entirely sure on what I think, because on one end, I think it helps a lot building your game plans and stuff, and but on the other side, it cuts down a lot of creativity with the nature and stuff. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure on what I think about this.
Still in the middle with it a little bit. I respect it. I respect
Yeah,
it. Um, Yeah. And then actually just kind of a random side question. We were talking about it last week when we got to do it, but how was it playing on Champions?
oh, it actually was really good. We had like zero issues, unlike 3 years ago when we had like a 3 hour blackout in Turin.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this time was really good with no issues and flawless. So yeah, it was
Perfect,
pretty
perfect.
good, really good experience.
Yeah, you're welcome, by the way, because the players at Indy had to be the guinea pigs to find out or whatever it happened. The when we had our 3 hour gap. Audie, what were you gonna say?
Well, you want to talk about issues of this tournament. I know Jamie Boyd's been tweeting up a storm about his match against Marco, where he said that he lost due to like input lag, and I saw Desu also complaining about one of his matches where he also um timed out because of the sort of latency issues where you just suddenly don't have a chance to plug in your moves. Um, so that's the one thing that I've seen a lot of top players talking about. We saw it. We saw people complaining about it after Indy as well. That's
And I
something to
think
really look out
Nash
for.
warned us too,
I
as
think
well. Nash was saying it happened
I
for
think it
him in Trainers
happened.
Cup.
I
Go
think
ahead.
it happened to my friend Lawrence Howen streaming in top 8, where he, uh, I don't know what happened because I was preparing my match, but the game selected Blizzard without a Mega Evolution, and he's sure that he clicked the Mega Evolution button. So
Right.
I don't know what exactly happened.
So this is the something I want to give as a PSA to everybody, especially as Champions is having these problems and we're still like, figuring things out with the game. While the turn is playing, the habit that I have is my thumb is hovering the clip button. Your thumb should just be hovering the clip button while the turn is going on, because the minute something weird happens, just hit that clip button. Because I think that I don't know how it's going to be handled, but if you were to show a judge a clip of, you inputting your moves, 10 seconds before time runs out and it doesn't register it, then I feel like you probably have grounds to, get some kind of redo, basically. Like and if the judges say, tough shit or something like that, if they say, no, we can't do anything, then I don't know, we're going to have to take the game less seriously. So I think that we need to, like, I would love for the game to be working perfectly. Unfortunately, we're playing this always online game that can't be played offline at all. And yeah, if you run into these weird situations, anything like that, just make it a habit. Have your thumb hovering the clip button so that you can just prove, like, I'm not crazy. Like, I didn't just, pick my moves at 1 second and think that I didn't time out, but I did. Like, if you clicked them well in advance and you saved a clip, like, as soon as you get that message on the top of the screen that says it's something like, your input could not be sent to the server, then save that clip button. Or hit that
Like
clip
during
button.
during run 4 at Indy, the run 4 at Indy, uh, it was taking a very long time for us to like get into game, but we were actually like able to get like into the pick our Pokemon screen, and then there was like a massive pause, and then when they sent out my Pokemon, it's just like these are not the two that I sent out, and the other person had thankfully the other person had disconnected, so we had to like fully redo it anyway on top of everything else that happened in round 4. But it was like the first like real major issue that I've had in Champions, so I wasn't expecting it, but it was like most definitely an I absolutely lose this game. There's no way I would ever beat these two. So I was extremely confused for when that popped up on my screen.
Right.
Yeah. I had the same thing happen in round 4 at Indy, and I was kind of hoping that was just an issue with that round, right? Because that was the weird round. But no, and just to add on to what Alex said, I think 45 Mice, Justin Knox, said that he had something similar happen in a previous round, and he actually appealed it all the way to a head judge, and they gave him a replay. I don't know if that's going to be the standard. I think, Indy was the first tournament of the format. I don't know if they expected this to be a common issue. Now, at this point, certainly going into NAIC, they know this is an issue. The judges are aware of this. I don't know how they are going to rule this. I hope that they give us some clarity on how they plan on ruling this at NAIC ahead of time. Don't think they will, but I wish they would. Because yeah, I think this is just going to keep happening, and there's now a lot of different things being thrown around about how to deal with it, and no one really knows, what the right approach is. Like, I definitely agree, Alex. I think we should be taking a clip as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Call a judge if it happens and it matters. Feel it is within your rights to appeal to a higher judge. That is something that you can do. It's not something VGC players are usually used to doing. But now, as we have issues with a brand new game, it is within your rights to appeal a decision made by a floor judge as well. And we'll see. I really hope they announce something about how they are going to deal with issues like this, because it seems to be pervasive, and it seems to be impacting, like we said, win an in set into top cut, impacting a game in top 8. It happened, to all sorts of different top players throughout the last couple weekends, and so I hope that they address it in some way. That's the really big issue that we've been having in Pokemon Champions tournaments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, one last really fun fact is, now that I think about it, my friend Francisco Nova. Played. I don't exactly know their opponent's name, but basically, Nova's opponent game crashed on turn one, I think. Uh, but the game was still going, and this person had both mounts with rock slide as a first move. and basically, and basically, Nava lost the game one because this guy was timeouting, but it was clicking rock slide every single turn, and you get a double flinch and a crit on Incineroar and a KO instantly, and yeah, it was super fun.
Okay. Yeah, I actually, because I was warned ahead of time that there were these timeout issues, I switched from my usual strategy. I usually put best move in first slot, so like Flare Blitz on my Incineroar, Shadow Ball on my Gengar. Instead, I pivoted to putting Protect on all of my first slots because I felt like that was going to be the best one to help me readjust from an unintentional timeout, but not from like, timing out by picking late, but more so the game just kind of screwing me over, I guess, by picking. And so I felt like Protect felt like the better pick for that reason. But now maybe it is actually supposed to be Rock Slide. Maybe Rock Slide is actually the best move to have in your first slot, just in case.
Definitely not a bad one, if anything.
Right. Somebody asked what was the highest finishing Blastoise. I'm not a huge fan of that Pokemon here, but let's see. So, Blastoise, 82nd, 8 and 4. That looks like a Blastoise finish to me. That's what you can expect from Blastoise, I think. So, it's gonna farm certain teams, but others not so much. I'll be honest, actually. Ghiso, I'm just curious. Do you like your Blastoise matchup? I feel like a lot of Frostlass teams could struggle into it.
I don't like my Blastoise matchup.
Yep. So if you want to beat specifically Frostlass teams, coming from another Frostlass player myself. Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead, say it.
Well, no, I just said that our Blastoise matchup is awful.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, you were saying there are no spread moves that hit Delphox. Well, you know what is a spread move that hits Delphox? It's Water Spout.
I've thought about it for that very reason as well, Ani. Trust me. I was like, Billy's Muddy Water Polytoad is calling to me. The Water Spout Blastoise is calling to me. I'm down. Yeah. So, let's see. There's a couple other teams that we want to highlight here, of course. Man, I can never remember how to say his name. Pepe had the Incin version without Floette, funnily enough. Still King Gambit. But just cut out the secondary Mega. And yeah, unfortunately, you're just going to have to be ready for like 13 different versions of Wims, Zard, like good stuffs that, that with a bunch of different moveset choices that if they change it up slightly, it might really make your matchup worse. But that's just where we're headed. And then, not Lewis Markle, was using something close to what Louis was running, and something close to what no, actually not that close. I was gonna say it was close to what Roxen and Torviv were running, but they had Delphox, I believe. So
yeah, everyone knows the second King Gambit.
Say again, Austin?
Everyone knows that the second Mega is just Source Dance King Gambit.
True. You're right. Yeah, honestly, you are kind of right there. You're kind of right there. There's that approach. Marcus actually bubbled. They had the same situation over in Turin that we did in Indy, where their numbers reached a very uncomfortable spot. I think it was 3 in Indy as well, right, Adi? I think 3 missed in Indy, and so 3 here as well. Tragic to see. Marcus, I think, started out with some pretty early losses, so, that's kind of... It's how it goes. You can't be losing early, as sad as it is to say when the tournaments are like this. But yeah, ending off with 8 straight wins only to be said, you can't go on. You do got to feel for him, unfortunately. But yeah, this is something that I think, isn't going to go anywhere for Indy if you want to be ready for all the different ways that people are going to be playing at Indianapolis. Incin, Cine, Floette, plus whatever they decide is the rest of the way they want to play the team, whether it's Delphox or Zard or King Gambit. There's you got to be ready.
By the
Wait,
way, naive
did they
nature on Sneasler.
Yeah,
yeah,
Naive is
which
sick.
is
Naive is sick.
I was talking about it.
Ghiso, go ahead.
No, I was pointing out the same thing Adi just said. Maybe it's because you go down to the focus sash by certain attacks, probably.
I
Yes.
believe it's because there's some like Charizard rolls or something that like you want to bring down to focus sash. I'm not 100% sure if I have the correct Pokemon right. It also might be Floette. It's one of the
Yeah,
two.
I think Glamora, Earth Power as well. They're a little bit less common, but I remember a friend talking about that a bit more when Glamora was common. There's actually just a number of special attacks that Sneasler takes just well enough. It's got a very physical defense. So Wave Crash from Basculegion, Earthquake from Garchomp, they're all getting that Unburdened Sash activation. But some of the special attacks in the format, like Heat Wave, Dazzling Gleam, something like that, they might, just barely miss your Sash, and that can be dire, no pun intended. But yeah, Naive, I very much support it on Sash Sneasler specifically, if you feel like you want to go with Unburdened. Because the other thing is that I don't think Poison Touch is a bad idea on Sash Sneasler at all. The fake out value you get is very strong, and honestly, you can poison an Incineroar that intimidated you with close combat. Like, that's pretty cool. So I support Poison Touch too. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that Francesco Iozia used Poison Jab Sneasler with Poison Touch to maximize the poison percentage. So
I've been seeing it a lot more on ladder and like leading up to NAIC, and me and my friends have been wondering, why are these people running Poison Jab? Are they stupid? And I still think they're just a little stupid. However, the numbers are pretty good. What? So it's you have to fail two or so you have to have two 70s occur, right, Adi? Is that what it is? Because it's 30% on both. I
it's
think
51% to poison.
And
Pretty
so the odds
Mhm.
of two 70s occurring is 49, so therefore 51 to get a poison. So the thing is it's not what like you. I don't think you. If you were just saying that you wanted to get a status more often, I think that Dire Claw is still correct. But I think the one specific context that this is good for, best for, is Whimsicott. Against Whimsicott, it is just so handy to bring it down to Sash and then have a very weighted coin flip, very slightly weighted coin flip, to just kill them instantly. That almost sells me on it. Would I rather still run Dire Claw? I think on most teams, yes. And actually, I also very much liked the Gunk Shot that you guys were running as well, because all these Floettes are running bulk. They'll survive a Dire Claw anyways, but they're not going to survive a Gunk Shot. So I think I support the Gunk Shots. The Poison Gems I'm a little bit more suspicious of, but I see what they're going for with specifically Poison Jab, Poison Touch. That's cool.
I think I would rather sleep the Whimsicott than poison it still. Like, it's just the paralysis that I don't necessarily want.
Right.
From Dire Claw.
Gunk Shot's never poisoned for me. It's fake.
No.
Yeah,
Gunk
I
Shot
agree.
poisons all the time. Gunk Shot's sick.
I only got one poison into our Stealth Fox. That was the only one I got into throughout all the tournament.
I bet you got all the Scovillain burns, though. I bet you got that 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, I had a question going back to talking about bubbling out of cut. Because we were talking about how, well, Champions tournaments, they run so fast, we could easily put more rounds of Swiss. Ghiso, what time did you guys, I knew you had an extra round of phase 2 in day 1. What time did you guys get done with day 1 and with day 2 Swiss?
I believe we were done by 5 p.m. in day 1.
That's crazy.
I think.
Including your 9th round?
But yeah, it was either 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. And talking about the 3 rounds of Swiss, in day 2, we were done by, I think, 11:30 or something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. See, I think that again, we're looking at 3 people missing top cut, and all this can be solved with extra rounds. I know that was less feasible on Scarlet and Violet, but man, if we're getting done by 5 o'clock, if we're getting done with day 2 Swiss by 11:30, right? Like we could totally put an extra round on.
I mean, they could also just like weirdly change the kickers just to like explicitly avoid, like not the kickers for the extra round just to like kind of avoid that. I think all it takes is like probably 800 something in order for somebody to miscut in a 12 round Swiss, but it only takes, I want to say like probably 1200 or 1250 for the 13 round Swiss for at least one person to miscut, as we saw in EUIC. So there is a case to just like tweaking those kickers so it doesn't happen. But I don't really know if it's always going to work so perfectly with like drops and stuff as well, and up pairs.
Yeah, Nico's telling me that we finished around 6 p.m. So yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
that's still pretty good, especially with an extra round of phase 2 as well, in there.
Go ahead, Adi.
So, I was tabling that discussion. Do we have more teams that we want to talk about?
Let's see.
I got some
Yeah,
teams. Hold up.
Is there any other in top 16 that are particularly interesting that we want to highlight? I feel like a lot of these actually look pretty standard, so maybe we do need to go down further.
Not from top 16.
All right, I'm gonna name off 5 Pokemon, and you're gonna have to tell me what Mega comes with this as the 6th. So we got Vivillon, we got Incineroar, we got Farigiraf, we got Kingambit, and we got Mega Camerupt. There were 6 teams with Mega Camerupt, and those 5 in day 2, and 3 different Megas on those teams as the 6th slot. Can you guys name the 3 Megas that were on the 6th slot?
One was Crab, right?
Yeah, it's Crab, Floette, and the last one.
Crab, Floette.
And then one person, by the way.
I know it, but
No, you should sit out. You should sit out. You should sit out because you're gonna know better than us.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were actually at this thing. It's Heracross? Oh my gosh! No.
Okay, I wasn't getting that. I feel less bad about being spoiled.
See, Adi, I thought you were gonna point out the so Ghiso, you sent me before the tournament this camera up team that your friend Dinetti ended up running, and I was like, okay, this looks a little bit crazy, but cool. If this is what you want to run, go for it. And then there was like a whole large group of people running that as well. But the one that stood out the most to me was the person that I feel like blended both somehow, because there was one person that had this team with Lycanroc as well, and I was like, you can't do both. What do you mean you're doing both?
Yeah.
That was kind of awesome.
Also, I'm pretty sure at some point in day 1, Mega Bulbasaur was like 7-0.
Yeah, it was by I apologize, Charalampos Primas, 59th place. It's basically just like you turn your slow weather setter into an ice type and still keep your fire type, so you're not like doubling up on fire types, but also giving yourself like grass type, which is a little grass coverage, which is a little difficult to come by in Trick Room, it feels like. So really cool team. Get laid.
I think that it's really interesting to try to figure out like what pins are people not really taking advantage of, right? What type, like that's sort of how I think you kind of think about offense versus defense. People, okay, everyone's getting ready for the Garchomp Charizard stuff, right? Everyone knows what they want to do in front of a Garchomp Charizard board. No one knows what they want to do in front of a Gallade Abomasnow board, right? That's a pretty strong pin too. And no one's ready for that. No one has no one has the right typings or move, like no one knows what Pokemon to put on the board in front of that, right? So I think that's one way of thinking about it. What's up?
It's also Leaf Blade. Yeah,
Leaf Blade.
I was playing a little bit of the one of the teams from VR this weekend. Or was it last week? It was last weekend. The Toxapex Snorlax team because I'm a terrible person. And I ran into a Glade and I was like, Glade just kills everything on this team. I can't beat this. You win.
Glade goes beast mode in the right situations. Like if you are taking super effective from its attack, you're not living. Like you just don't get to live those attacks. That's what's awesome about that guy. It hurts so hard. It hits so hard. It hurts so bad. It's funny.
Yeah. I
Let's
hate
see.
that Gallade hits harder than Mega Gallade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. They needed to
Yeah.
like. I think that some of the bad megas could have just used a little bit more love. Like that one, Inner Focus is technically an okay ability to put on a physical attacking mega,
It should,
but
it
it
should have
might have
been
been
the other
nicer to have
way. Inner
sharpness.
Focus,
It's
it
so
should have been the other
good.
way.
If they reversed it, that would be crazy. It would really nerf regular Gallade, or at least it would make it a good amount worse. But the mega one would be sick. But yeah, I guess let's quickly pick Jamie's team here. I mean, that's what Jamie does. He builds teams that you're supposed to talk about, I guess. I think it's pretty stupid, but you know, whatever. That's how Jamie likes to play the game. Just sleep spam, and you know what? At least seems decently effective at enabling the setup Pokemon. I have to admit, like if your opponents are unable to
I
do
mean,
anything because both of their mons are sleeping, might as well boost, and these are some of the best boosters in the format.
yeah, all six boosters.
Mm-hmm. Wait. Oh, can they all?
Yeah.
I guess you're right. They
That's
all
the
boost.
best.
I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
Look, it's a
Uh,
cool team.
I
We're
just-
doing it.
it's like I
Right.
You
had
know anything about my local team? Where there's the goat.
The weirder, yeah. I don't know if I actually buy Jamie saying it's the best lead in the format, but it's pretty funny for sure. All right, so,
Go watch his team report. He has a whole team report talking about it. So
right, totally. Oh wait, I just realized it's mixed Como. I didn't even
Yep.
bother looking
Yeah.
at that part, dude. Oh my god. Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get hit by attacks because they're sleeping. What's the problem?
Yeah, and you're naive because any special attack that you want to take, you're dying to anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Was it actually naive? I didn't even see that part too. It sure
Yep.
is. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, what's I don't know. Ghiso, was there any teams that you thought were pretty interesting from this tournament that we haven't talked about yet?
I actually don't know. Oh, wait. The Weavile Gardevoir team.
Yes, he went 9-3.
Yeah.
Sully.
Yeah, I know. This is my
So
guy.
cool.
Yeah.
Aurasphere. Okay. I've actually some of the Gardevoirs were going Vacuum Wave at this tournament, and I think that seems decent. Going for Aurasphere. Also Psycho Cut on the Weavile. Sash Gambit with Assurance. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff here. Wow.
And
That's cool,
like
though.
honestly, like these are like real ideas. Like Weavile being faster than Sneasler and KOing it is like super real. Faster fake out, faster psycho cut. Gardevoir being a like the fairy type that has a fighting coverage and the like it's got good coverage. Like you said, vacuum wave's a move that people have seen on it, but now it actually does just hit Incineroars in a way that you can't hit King Gambits, right? It does it if you're relying on King Gambit to beat the fairy types, you're not going to do that in front of Aura Sphere Gardevoir. So I think there's some real things that you can take away from this team. Serena probably a little underused, but Choice Scarf Serena also very real Pokemon. I like it.
I think if you showed me this team and asked me which two Pokemon on this team have the fighting type moves, I'd get it wrong at least 7 times.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that could easily run them, but they aren't. So Upper Hand Talonflame. Imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other teams that I thought were really good. I'll pick one on the slightly boring side, but the team from Juan here. First off, yeah, the team is probably one of the more interesting takes on Rain to me right now. I know that basically all of the 5 Pokemon that aren't Mousehold are always on Rain. So that's not that spicy. But I like Rain Dance Mousehold with it. I feel like it adds something to pretty much all of the Pokemon here. I feel like they can all take advantage of it well. And Rain Dance gives you that extra control of the weather. It feels like a much better Pokemon than Sableye. And it is funny. I would not say that this team looks like it auto loses to Charizard or anything like that. However, Juan was probably one of the only people in the tournament to not fight Charizard. I feel like maybe he wanted to fight Charizard with Rain Dance, but
No way.
yeah, I know. It feels wrong to say out loud, but came across this myself earlier today, and I was like, wait a minute, how did you fight Zero Charizard? What?
Yeah, that's
One more thing. His last name means fisherman in Spanish, and he's running rain, which I really
Yeah,
he's running
right.
the fish.
Right. I did think that was a little on the nose.
And he did match up fish. He did dodge all the sun.
his in-game thing better be fisherman or whatever the water whatever the equivalent is. I feel like there's got to be a fisherman title card. Anyways,
I like Fabio's team. Is 99th place.
Yes.
It's a Rotom Mo, Mega Caesar, Mega Arrow. It's been a while since I've seen the good Rotom Mo, but it also just doesn't have its grass move, so.
Interesting.
Oh.
I kind of thought the reason to run Rotom Mo was the grass move, but it also does get around Tenacious Redirection and Eerie Impulse, the protect the setup guys, right? So that's pretty cool too.
Also, maybe I'm just like stupid, but every time I see Twisted Spoon Fari, like I just want to run Twin Beam on it. Like Glamora has started to fall off quite a bit, but the Sash Sneaslers are still very much here. Like, do we not want to one shot those guys? It sounds so cool. Whatever.
I'm kind of with you on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you got a Scizor. You're fine.
Yeah.
Maybe this team doesn't care about Sneasler. Maybe it's fine. So
No.
with that, I think I do want to
really
keep
think
us
that like
moving along. Go ahead, Audi though. Really
Rotom
quick.
Mo has been in my builder multiple times, and I think it's like grass coverage is really hard to find in this format. I think obviously we saw the Abomasnow Gallade team running double grass coverage. We've seen the Scovillain that has the Giga Drain, so people have found ways to put grass coverage on. But Rotom Mo is like one of the ones that has come up to me in my head as something that really does grass type damage. And so it's interesting to see it do well, but then also not have the grass move.
That is so that is just so like
that one's fun.
It does sound illegal, Adi. Like whenever I see a Rotom not running a signature move, I'm like, how did you get here? How did you end up where you are? Really wanted that levitating electric grass Pokemon, but didn't need the grass coverage. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to previewing NAIC and talking a bit about the World's invites for it. Yeah, the tournament is going to be having, I think we said 1366 players or something like that.
Yeah, it's between Masters, Juniors, and Seniors, so probably more along the rounds of like 1150 to 1200 in theory, but
with no shows, of course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the no shows, the different age divisions. So it's currently 1366. Definitely going to be a smaller number than that come tournament time, but yeah, the biggest event of the year. Kind of funny, like, I don't know, here we are talking about, Japan and Europe having their only Champions event. Like, I guess we should feel a little bit lucky that we get two on home turf. This is, an international one, so players from all kinds of regions will be coming to this one. And that's really exciting, of course. But for this one, we wanted to talk a little bit about everybody gunning for their invites with that last opportunity to get points here at NAIC. So Ghiso, I apologize if this section's a little bit boring for you because you're well. Actually, I did want to ask you one thing though. First off, where are you at in terms of a World's invite, and would you go if you have it, or are you thinking about going? What's the story with that?
I only played UAC and Turin, so I'm not even close.
Got it. All right. Well, maybe next season then. If you can get to enough events, I feel like that's always the main thing. Like because you seem like a strong enough player to be doing it consistently. But the thing is, you do have to go to a number of tournaments to make it happen too.
Yeah.
Or just go to one and win. Just go to one
Against
and win.
regionals.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. So, anyways, Austin, why don't you tell us about your website here?
Yeah, so for those who might have seen my name somewhere, it's probably through the article I put out in March, which actually I'll also paste in here, just so it's here, along with some graphics that you can pull up in a little bit. And where I basically projected where we would be, where the North America leaderboard would be throughout the rest of the season from when I dropped it. And even though it was a little bit high, the actual bar at each week was a little bit higher. We're actually like extremely on pace. And this all stemmed off of me creating a spreadsheet to track everybody's bet finish limits um, for majors, locals ish, and grand challenges to help my friend Steve try to make worlds last year. Unfortunately, he was first one out, and sometimes that's life, and someone has to be. Um, that being said, I decided to just since I was also decided that I wanted to go for my invite this year, I would keep up with it, and even after I stopped chasing invites, I was going to expand it more to the other regions of the world. And since we are now at NAIC, I've been working with Yotam, uh, as well as a couple others on trying to get some predictions for where the bar was going to be. So this is the live leaderboard. So as NAIC happens and updates, and people will have wins and losses, the points that people earn will and like guarantee themselves in will appear on this leaderboard and shift people up and down. So once someone hits six wins, then they'll be guaranteed 100 points, and it'll be reflected in it, and people can see that in real time. And I hope that everything works. In addition, if someone's like at home, like I know a couple of my friends are not going to NAC and are kind of in that bubble, kind of waiting to see what happens. If you scroll all the way up, or even if you're not, you can select your name. So if you want to select, say, let's just select my friend Olivia Lomowski. Um, it'll highlight you, and then you can kind of see the like how people are doing below you. And there's also like a checkbox, which once NAIC is actually going on and people are confirmed or not confirmed attending through the Pokedata standings page, it'll remove everybody that is not attending. So you're only focused on the people that are, as well as removing people as they get eliminated and don't have the chance to play anymore.
Okay, got you. So it will be live updating. That's really cool. For that part of it. Just kind of keeping up with it. It does say here 8:20 or 8:30. So like it feels weird because I feel like we weren't. I mean, maybe we were this certain last year, but like you're certain that the bar falls within exactly one of those two possibilities. It's not possible to be anything else.
It's not that that it's not possible to be anything else. It's just this is the most likely case. If you
Sure.
pull up the
This
first of
one?
the images that I sent you, no, the other one, yeah, that one. So we got some good old box and whiskers stats plot, and that Yotama sent me, and we're probably going to hit the top two, top 512 points for NAIC, like we did last year. So we can kind of ignore the top three plots. But if we're looking at the bottom three, we're seeing that even in an aggressive scenario, the 75th percentile is like just above 830. And the lowest end of that is still around 816 points. So 820 and 830 is a very good estimate for like where a lot of the stats points will lie. and it's always better to be a little bit like on the higher end of that. Like if the bars ends up being 806, then no harm, no foul on my part. It just ends up being a little bit lower.
Right.
So it's just where we think a majority of the time it will be. So that's just where we wanted to focus the results and like efforts of people.
Makes sense. Okay. So yeah, and then I guess there's also well, let's say like the crazy ideal scenario, I guess. Well, now how would this work? If there's auto invites being handed out at NAIC, right? You know, if you make it into that top 4, is that only interesting for like a handful of people? Like say, you know, Adi here is already qualified for Worlds. So actually, would that be it would be interesting if Adi got an auto invite, right? It would not?
Yes.
It would.
So
I'm
like,
not going, but it would.
Oh,
no.
right. I sorry, Adi. I
that
picked
would
you.
be
You're a very bad example. I guess I'll pick
if you
I'll pick
won from
myself here.
1,000 miles away.
Yeah, Adi's gonna be not there. Right. All right. Sorry. I got my. If let's pick me. So I guess I am auto qualified. I don't know. I guess I am. Or I'm not auto qualified. I mean, I am likely qualified. I should be set.
You're safe.
If I were to make it into top 4, then that would push it down because I'm already in the top 80, whatever we are now.
Yeah, and like this spreadsheet is designed for like when there's a lot of matches going on and a lot of variability with like what can happen. Once we get into Top Cut, it's a lot less important where it's a lot more
Sure.
defined of like, okay, if X person wins and they will make top 4, and then that bar will go down, and then whoever's in 91st spot will get their invite. It's a lot more rigid in terms of what happens, whereas on day 1, in the early stages of day 2, anything can happen. Things can get weird.
Yeah, I guess when you're
And
at that point in the
especially-
tournament, it might tell you who certain people are rooting for. If you know, like say, I guess it would be like Wolf versus somebody else. Like I guess me. You know, me versus Wolf in top 8. Again, I guess we just fought in top 8. But Wolf. Wait, no, Wolf doesn't have
matter.
Wolf doesn't have an auto
He does not
invite.
have an
Shit.
auto qual.
Shit, I need to pick somebody
Problem.
else. Who has an auto invite?
But so
Paul's not going.
Anyways, Adi, you go
Paul's
on
not
with your
going.
point.
He had a no. So the fun part is that once we get to Top Cut, there's 2 scenarios. If you scroll very far down, you can find the people who need a top 8 or need to straight up get an auto qual invite to have a chance of qualifying. And those are obviously going to be a lot of fun to watch. If some of these players down here who are more than capable of making a deep run. I mean, I look at Tim Edwards; he's already gotten 2nd place at Internats. Like, you know, that caliber of player, they really, really need a deep run to be able to qualify. That's obviously always fun to watch. And there's always players who are, especially last year, I think we saw Japanese players who were, this is my last chance qualifying. But the other side of it is going into Top Cut, we also know the 1 or 2 players who are right on the cut line. And those players usually eliminated from the tournament. Not only they specifically need an American to make it into top 4 and get an auto invite, or American doesn't already have an auto qual to get an invite.
So it
for
might
that bar to
be
pass
an
down
American
by
versus
slot.
a non-American, like for example.
Yes, and so that was what happened last year. I can tell you, the last player to get a Worlds invite, actually the last player was Yotam because Shiliang dropped out of the standings after because he was having a child. But the last player to get an invite was Marco Maras out of Italy. And he locked up his invite once it was guaranteed that there was going to be an auto invite from Italy. And I remember running into him that day, and he was like, "Yeah, like I couldn't watch. I was hiding in my hotel room until my girlfriend told me that I had locked it up because he was so nervous." But it's so cool that we get to live watch and see where that bar is and who is on the cutoff and who is who is really racking the nerves, because a lot of times that player who is playing in top 8, obviously they want to win the tournament, but they don't really have that much on the line as far as they're probably already locked up for Worlds. They're one of the best players in the country usually. So we get to see who has to root for them to find out, you know, whether or not they make it to the Worlds invite. Who is that in contention for that very last slot. That's always one of my favorite narratives. I hope that they actually like put something like this on stream. Because last year I don't think they did, but it would have been so cool to have a cam on the players, especially as top 8 is going. Who are the two players? Who's the EU player versus the NA player? Whose roles invites are on the line? Put them next to each other. Put a camera on them. Make them sit next to each other. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, like in future years, I'm hoping to like actually be able to like expand this to like the other 3 regions. Like last year was like the proof of concept where I made the spreadsheet. This year I was like be getting better at projections throughout the year with Yotam and just like refining the system. Then next year, I think this is a good enough system that next year it's like I can roll it out to the other regions so that in their last like major tournaments with was it Melbourne, Lima, and Turin that people can be tracking this. That
Yeah.
kind of going back to what you're saying, Adi, like I was on the other end where I was hanging out with Steve, and we were just like, okay, we need like Zach Wee to make top 4. We need Gio Shishki to make top 4. We need Nails to make top 4. And I think we need like Thomas Irwin to make top 4. And like as like each of those kind of like fell to their respective opponents, I think the last one that like kind of drove the nail in the coffin was Torviv getting 3 moody speed boosts and dodging a meteor beam by Geo. It's just it's kind of sad. It's unfortunate, but like man, if that wouldn't have made it like a great like documentary moment or something. But
Right.
it was most definitely like very interesting to see like that those emotions.
Mhm.
And like and kind of on the note that you were saying of like bring it up on stream, could you scroll all the way to the top and hit the button on the top right corner?
Yeah, the
The
matches.
matches, the hype matches.
So there's like a detailed and scuffed, admittedly, refinable, it's fine, algorithm. These are just some like made up like records and numbers I was using to proof test because if the actual full Turin results were in, it would just not show anything. But basically for each round, it'll show like each player's what requirement they need. There's like an algorithm that goes through that like matches the record to the placement they need. So it's like, okay, if it's like 5 and 2 and these people both need top 128, then it's gonna score it really high. And I'm hoping that like I can get this to the casters, and the casters will like may be able to take this into account when picking like teams to put on or matches to put on stream. But it's regardless, it is a big impact match to look into. And
Yes.
I also added a couple of the or all of the top like so many of the other regions as well, just kind of rough eye test estimating like what the bar would be. Usually it rises about last year the bar rose about 15 points for Latin America. I think it was 7 or 8 points for Europe and no points for Oceania. So I just kind of rough use those as a baseline guess for where the bar might be considering the foreign talent coming into NAIC this year.
Right. Right. I had one quick minor question. I which was just how like some players like the ordering gets funky. Is that just with like players that are like full up on their BFLs? Like for example, it says like this person needs a top 16, the person above them needs top 32, the person above them needs top 16. Is
Yep,
that just related to BFLs being full?
yep. That is entirely a BFL being full.
Okay, got it,
Issue.
got it. And then yeah, I guess that really put it into perspective for me. Adi, it wasn't necessarily, um when, what NA player is potentially getting an auto invite is just a matter of, if they're playing an out of region player, which seems like probably one of the most likely possibilities, that things get really crazy because it's going to be split between regions. It's going to push it down one for NA or push it down one for EU, and somebody's going to go home sad and somebody's going to go home really happy. So
right, or they're playing a player like Paul, like Zach Weed, or like Dylan Matthews we see on there, Carson, who already have their Worlds invites locked up. You might be rooting against those players. Is another example. But then also, I mean, I think one of those fun applications is when you get into day 2 or you get to that win and in stage, and then you get to click on the matches tab and you get to see who's on the 8-4 tables playing absolutely for their lives. And there were some really, really crazy matches last year where it was like, yeah, both these players are 8-4 and playing their win and in for Worlds, which is also really fun.
oh man. All right, any other notes on this before I move us on to picking some smart monies for NAIC then?
No, I'm gonna refine this a little bit more. I was kind of like rushing out the matches tab, so the algorithm's a little bit wonky, but I'll be refining this a little bit more tonight.
Should I be
and
linking it here in the chat, or the
Yeah, feel
URL
free.
is cut off? All right, I'll go ahead.
It'll be in the description of the YouTube video as well.
Cool.
Y'all
All right, so Twitch, there you have it. If you want to check it out and play around with it, and YouTube, you'll have it in the description. All right. So I went back to the 2022 Columbus NAIC. I cut out all the ones before that because I feel like that's just ancient history, unfortunately. So even this is feeling pretty old, sword and shield type stuff. But James Evans was the winner here. Did James miss all the registration waves? I feel like James did.
I believe he did.
So I actually don't know if James would be a good smart money pick. Agati though, probably a good pick. Justin, Joe, yes. Chongjun actually was in Turin. I don't know if Chongjun will be here in.
I think I saw on his Twitter that he said that after Turin it'd be like a long while before he comes back to stuff.
Maybe I saw that as well. You might be right. And then
Justin Burns and James Beck both do not have their Worlds invite. I think they were right next to each other on that list. Both are, very capable of top cutting, and both need a deep run in order to make it. So that's gonna be really fun to watch.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Top 32. Okay.
Yeah.
Both very good picks there.
You see Gavin Michaels there too as another top player, needs a deep run to have a chance of making a Worlds invite. It's going to be a lot of fun with all these top players who are competing for their lives.
Dawe also did well here and has been doing well, pretty well recently. Eric also still doing hot. I wouldn't be surprised to see Eric there. Shilyang played Indy, right? So I mean I don't know if Shilyang's just if that was just one tournament or if he's coming to more tournaments, but very good pick as well. Yeah, just a lot of strong names here. Raghav and Wolf. Raghav did just barely manage to get in, so and like literally I think the 4th wave. I don't know, one of the refund waves that is. I actually was kind of the one that got Raghav in because Raghav was working. Was like, can you try to register for me? But I think Raghav was able to take a break and get it registered too. So I don't know who was actually the one that got the button to turn green, but I'll take the credit. Yeah, Wolf should definitely be going here, and yeah, I think the rest of these players I wouldn't be surprised. So let's keep it moving though. So Gomez won in 2023 over Raghav here again, and Torviv, Joe another one. We just saw Marco win over in Turin, so wouldn't be surprised if he was a good smart money pick for this one at all. He's in kind of top form for champions. Chuppa's going. Justin Knox was actually pretty low down on the where he needed to get for the Worlds invites. Like he was pretty low in the standings. Adi, do you think he's going?
I don't think he's going. I think I saw that.
Not going. Got it. Okay. And yeah, looking at a lot of these other names, actually a decent amount of foreign players here in top 16. Then there's Wolf and stuff. All right, let's move on to the next one. So the year Patrick Connors won in 2024 over Aurelian. Honestly, don't know if Aurelian would be going. Patrick, I also think maybe not going. Edu, I think going. I would have to imagine, but maybe not.
think so.
I don't think Aurelian is going.
Sorry, what's that? Say again, Ghiso?
I don't think Aurelian is going because we were in the same MPA team and it didn't mention
Right. Okay.
that it was going
So
to
probably
NAIC.
not. Okay. Here there's Roxon and Shiliang, Justin Burns again. There's let's see, Juan Salerno, Rios, ESM, Chua, some good names. Then over here in 2025, we got some regulation I. Fede won over Marco, which, by the way, I'd love to bring it up at every chance we can get. But I believe I picked Marco for smart money for NAIC last year, and Adi picked Fede for NAIC last year.
Yeah.
So we did literally call the finals. Like, I don't know. People were like saying like it wasn't that crazy to pick them because they were both like in top form. I'm like, shut up. There's 1,100 players in this, and Adi and I picked the 2 finalists. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty crazy. So anyways, I honestly I don't know if I would be smart moneying any Japanese player in particular, but just in general, I feel like there might be some strong Japanese players in attendance.
Yeah, I know
and
Shoma's going. I know Kinugawa's going. So there's a couple at least.
and yeah, we've seen Carson's name a couple times here, Gotti's name a couple of times here. Chijit's also been doing well, so yeah. Luca, another good name. So with that, oh yeah, I didn't talk about the smart monies for this one because Adi, you picked Ghiso, funnily enough, for smart money for this one. I actually don't know how Ruben ended up finishing. Roxon did well. Marco Arsenal ended up picking. Go ahead.
I believe Ruben went 5-3.
Ah, tough. Okay. Yeah, Arsenal picked the winner, which is actually like really cool. For Arsenal, the winner of the last event, to smart money pick the next winner. Like that's just kind of I don't know. That's a little bit spooky, weird, funny.
Should have DM'd Marco and just say, hey, you get a pick who's winning.
Right? I know. I gotta ask Marco who he's deciding wins NAIC. But yeah, let's go ahead
He's
and
picking himself, man.
yeah, right.
Go, Marco.
Okay, so with that, Austin, who do you want to pick for smart money for your one person to win?
I was thinking about I was thinking about picking Shoma. Big fan of him, but I'm gonna pick another Japanese player that I believe is going in Masayoshi Kuro.
All right, Masayoshi. Absolutely a smart pick, I would say. All right, Ghiso, over to you.
I think I will pick Justin Tang because I really like the teams that he usually builds. So
no, I like that absolutely. Adi?
I'm also picking a Japanese player. Just got top 8, I believe, at Japan Nationals. I got
and is going.
Is going. He posted a photo of his passport on Twitter.
Wait, with all the identifying information?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All of it.
I can't read Japanese, so I'm not sure if it's actually him, but it probably is.
Right. Oh my gosh. All right. So, wow, I should have figured out somebody in advance, but I feel like I want to do the I do want to be right as well, and so I'm gonna do the lame thing that we didn't do last time, which is pick Wolf, because like. Because we didn't pick, we were all dancing around it in such a stupid way that it was just like, oh, yeah, Wolf's going, but like, that's such a boring pick. And then he got second, and whoever picked him would have won smart money. So I'm gonna go ahead and just win smart money, and pick Wolf.
Well, whoever picked Arsenal would have won smart money, and he's still.
That's true.
Too, so
that's true. Wolf was not the best pick for that tournament. Arsenal was. All right. And make sure, I've seen a couple people already putting theirs in the chat, so I'm glad for you guys are playing along.
Just calling some out. I see Nails calling out Tommy Coolin, who top cut Nats last year as well. I think top
16. Right?
Right here.
Nails, I
Top 20.
considered it, but if you steal my thunder, then like I'm not gonna steal yours.
I respect it.
I see someone picking either Utah Ishigaki if he's going. I don't know if he's going, or Zine says Aquamarine. I see Nails getting picked by We Are Toasty. Keep them coming, guys. We'll call them out.
Yeah, and I think then sadly I don't have the chat on screen, otherwise they would have been in the VOD too, but I'll fix that for next week. And yeah, I think that's otherwise just about going to do it for this week on Tub Takes. Colin, I actually was thinking about picking Rios myself, but I decided to just go with, the GOAT, unfortunately. Just gonna pick the boring one. But Rios is, I think, a good shout. He's been playing very well lately, and also has a history of doing well at international tournaments. I think we saw him in a couple of these, so very good shout. He's training in Puerto Rico. All right. Anyways, yeah. Thank you for putting the link there, Audie. Yeah. So if you guys are here now, but you didn't catch the beginning, this is going to be on YouTube tomorrow over at CK49 on YouTube. So if you prefer to watch this thing on YouTube, you can find us there. And then for our guests, thank you guys for joining us, Austin and Ghiso. Thank you guys so much for giving your time to us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we'll figure out who we're gonna throw the raid over to, but for now,
and again, we are so close to partner. Make sure you follow. Make sure to be ready for next week, because not only are we going to be recapping NAIC, but also we're probably going to be streaming a lot once MB comes out, and we're ready to. I'm excited to play some MB. I'm done with MA, so keep a lookout for that as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely gonna get back to streaming some more once I'm back from NOLA. Just been very busy with coaching and my own prep, but absolutely gonna be doing some more champion streams. I don't know if I'll be able to stream mobile, but that's fine. I don't think people actually want to watch. Do people want to watch mobile? Maybe they do. They want to watch a phone screen. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I'll figure out who we're gonna throw the raid to, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging, peeps. Peace out. Have a good night.